The new Premier League season is just around the corner. Transfers are being worked on as this video is being made, which does make it a little bit harder to predict, but I sort of have an idea of what each club will be doing this window. From 1st to 20th, as well as player awards and trophies, let's predict the 2020 to 21 season. Working our way from the bottom to the top, I have Fulham in 20th place. Soon I'll have a video coming out discussing Fulham and how they could learn from previous mistakes. Slight spoiler, I personally don't think they will. The squad needs too much work doing to it for it to really compete in the bottom half. It lacks multiple players of Premier League quality and is still quite similar to the team that got relegated. Although with that being said, there is a few interesting players. One being midfielder Anguissa returning from his loan. I talk about him quite a bit in my upcoming video, so make sure you're subscribed to see it. With some additions to the squad, it may mean that they pick up some more points, but not so much to raise them above 20th place. 19th place, I have West Brom, another newly promoted side that seems very likely to go back down. Compared to Fulham, they do have some more exciting players in here with Pereira and Diangana, who signed permanently from West Ham. Two players that can create chances and have been brilliant in the Championship. I do believe Bilic is a decent manager, capable of keeping a side up in a relegation battle, but probably not on this one. Their squad gets weaker as you look towards the midfield and the defence, and it doesn't fill me with much confidence. Their form went down towards the end of the season, and if it wasn't for Brentford bottling it like they did, West Brom probably wouldn't be here. They were good enough for a second place finish in the Championship, but a step up into the Premier League may just be a bit too much for them. After switching two teams in and out of 18th, I've decided to go with Crystal Palace. It's been hard for me to put them here with Roy Hodgson in charge. He usually turns things around at Crystal Palace, and up to now he has done well. Their form also dropped towards the end of the season, and it was scoring goals that became a problem for them. With the addition of Eze, it means that they'll be creating more chances, and it'll be a big help in attack to have him there. To be fair, it's exactly what they needed, so good business from them. However, my instinct with this, and due to movements from other teams, I think Palace might be in for a tough time this season. It's their form that really tells me they'll be in 18th, but I think I can already tell this might be the worst prediction of the lot, looking back in just under a year's time. Just outside of the relegation zone, I have Newcastle United. Now, as I said, I was moving them and Palace in and out of 17th and 18th, but I chose this way round eventually. It's the transfer movements that make me think Newcastle will have the edge here. Wilson and Fraser linking up again. If it's anything like the 18 to 19 season, then it could be great to watch. Joining a squad with an attack of St. Maxima, as well as Almiron, who has improved since the start of last season, and possibly Joel Linton. Maybe off the bench is where he'll find his form for £40 million. Plus Jamal Lewis on the left. He didn't have an amazing debut Premier League season. Development is needed in his game, but he could be great at providing the overlap for St. Maxima and looking to create chances. I don't think they have a bad overall squad either, with some good options in the midfield, and they've added Jeff Hendrick in there too. After making my video on Aston Villa, I've become a little more optimistic about their season. I think that this one could turn into something more positive. Since uploading that video, they've signed Matty Cash from Nottingham Forest, an interesting one as I felt they needed to improve left back more than right back. However, he is a quality player. On the right flank, he'll consistently provide a passing option on the overlap, looking to create chances for the forwards, and he's the kind of attack-minded player they needed to bring in. I'm fairly confident there's going to be some more additions to the squad in attack. Josh King is looking quite likely now, and also Jack Grealish looks like he's staying, so Villa have it all there to stay up. They were able to improve in the last 4 games, so if they can continue on that high that they left on, I think they'll have enough throughout the season to avoid relegation. In 15th, I have West Ham, who have moved down a couple positions since my first prediction due to transfer movements and pre-season results. I tweeted my thoughts on the Diangana transfer, agreeing with most really that this is a big loss for them. He was a young, skillful player that was about to add some attacking quality into the team, creating chances for the forwards. Then in pre-season games, they haven't kept any clean sheets, and more significantly, conceding 5 to Bournemouth. I don't really think West Ham's defence has ever been that strong. This is where transfers need to be made if they're to finish higher. However, with those negatives, I saw some real positives in the way Moyes got them playing. Soucek, Antonio and Rice all playing well. Possibly Hilaire will do better now through more creativity now Bowen has joined. He's been impressive since his January arrival, but they do need more. Surviving the drop, but only 15th for me when I feel there's real potential to be higher. Brighton are one of the teams that interest me the most due to Graham Potter's expansive way of play he's brought to the team over the past year. Last season, I was excited for the addition of more pie into the Premier League, and he was successful, being their top goal scorer with 10 for the season. Leandro Trossard and Adam Webster were more additions that improved the first team, and towards the end of the season we saw exciting youngster Lamptey get his chance in the squad and put in some impressive performances. Their defence is impressive now with Lewis Dunk, Adam Webster and Ben White, who returns from his loan at Leeds. That's some brilliant options at the back that is quality for a team in the bottom half. Bissouma is another player that was impressive for them, and also Aaron Connolly, who broke into the first team, adds great pace when he's on the pitch. New signings Veltman for 900k and Lallana on a free transfer are brilliant deals. Cheap and good value, they should play a decent part this season. Potter had a good first season with players learning the different ways he likes to play, and I think they'll continue that improvement by finishing a place higher in the league table. In 13th, I have Leeds United, the highest of the newly promoted teams, as things are looking quite promising for them. Bielsa has done brilliantly, and they were very close to getting promoted the season before but just missed out. They improved on that season and then won the league. So 2 seasons at the club and he's always had them performing well, and some of the players that they have I believe are up to Premier League standard. Calvin Phillips being one that's talked about a lot, it'll be interesting to see how he performs at this level after good performances in the Championship. A centre-back partnership of Cooper and now new signing Robin Koch looks good. Robin looks to be a top quality signing in fact. The most aerial duels won by defenders last season in the Bundesliga, 114. Being 6'3" and only 24 for around £13 million too, that's some good business. As well as Rodrigo, potentially De Paul from Udinese too. Leeds look like they're here to stay and I expect them to play some good football. Then in 12th position, dropping 3 places from last year, I have Sheffield United, which would still be a brilliant season from Chris Wilder's team. I find it difficult to predict them to be in the top half again. It could potentially happen without a doubt because they'll continue their way of playing and keep getting good results. But other teams I believe are stronger and will be more consistent throughout the season. 12th isn't a bad season for them at all, a good mid-table finish, no panic of relegation and something to build on the season after. Ramsdale replaces Henderson, he was always going to be a hard one to replace but I think they've done well. Lowe, Bogle and Ampadu join, particularly Ethan Ampadu is one I'm interested to see in this team. I think these are promising signings. They add more quality to the depth of the team. Bogle and Lowe, 2 attacking fullbacks with good dribbling ability, technical players. And I was in fact hoping they would bring in some younger players as I'm really interested to see them in Wilder's system. For me, a solid season to be happy about in 12th place. Sean Dyche has stayed at Burnley despite rumours a while back suggesting he'd leave, and with that another mid-table finish for them. Another team that haven't made any significant signings in the market, so nothing that tells me they can go any higher. But the defensive structure is always there with Burnley, and that's what Sean drills into the players so well. They aren't a squad of players that you really see are full of goals, but they did rank 12th last season for most goals scored with 43. Dwight McNeil has picked up 8 goal contributions in back-to-back seasons, and he's one that adds a bit of flair and chance creation to the team. Not in the top half for me this season after they previously finished 10th, but 11th is still fantastic and would prove exactly again what the manager is about. So instead in 10th this year I have Everton, who had a disappointing season last time out, finishing 12th in the league with a change of manager halfway through. It was Carlo Ancelotti who came in and it's still quite unbelievable that he's there, so we knew that this transfer window was going to be very interesting for them. And the midfield looks to have changed completely. Allen, Rodriguez and Decore, a midfield that will transform the way that the team plays. This means a more promising season for Richarlison, Calvert-Lewin and Moise Kean, who I made a whole video on discussing how he could succeed at Everton. I still think however compared to other teams they'll make a few more mistakes, and that means that they won't reach higher than mid-table. Just in the top half, as I think there are some good teams above them. However, don't rule them out. I think the midfield could mean Everton become great at scoring goals as they create more chances for the forwards in the team. So 9th place I have Southampton, a team that I'm really optimistic about and excited to play more this season. I recently did a video analysing the team, the way that they score goals and how Hasenhüttl has got the team playing some brilliant football. Danny Ings will continue to be their top goal scorer, but I think Che Adams will be more consistent throughout the season, meaning they shouldn't struggle as much for goals. I'm fairly sad they didn't bring in Weston McKennie, he'd have been great to see, but Salisu and Walker Peters, who they have finalised, I'm sure will be good business. I've always been worried about their defence, but this has improved and their form showed it, so I believe the Saints are in for a good season. A team to watch because of their high energy style. Let's see if they live up to expectations. Now Leicester City I could easily put higher than 8th, for sure in 7th, and I made a last minute change on this one to drop them 1 position. Their form got significantly worse in 2020 and I believe that they'll start playing a little better than previously this year, but still have some inconsistencies here and there. Apart from a replacement signing, Castagne in for Chilwell, they haven't improved the squad, which I feel they needed to. There may be signings soon, but it's their fault for not doing anything earlier. Maybe we'll see a better James Maddison than last season, which would change a lot about how the team performs. 6 goals and 3 assists last season season, he can do better than that. I think they could be looking a bit further up the table with some new signings, but there's nothing that tells me they're going to get back to their form from early last season. Of course, it was these players that were playing well under Rodgers and they could get back to it, but over the course of 38 games, I see them finishing 8th. So above in 7th place, I have Wolves, which would make it the 3rd season in a row finishing in this position. Maybe it's quite a boring prediction putting them in the same place, but it's like they've made it theirs. The teams above them I think will be that bit better and they're stronger than the teams below. So consistency for them, which is a great sign of the quality they have throughout the squad, and with no European football this season, they'll be fitter towards the end. Last season was an improvement on the season before, getting 2 more points and scoring 4 more and conceding 6 less, so maybe they do the same this season. They've signed Fabio Silva and Marcel. How much Silva will play I'm not sure, and I don't know too much about him right now, but I've heard some very good things. This season could easily see them move up 1 place, but I'm playing this one safe and saying 7th place again for Nuno's team. So then into 6th, where things get a little more interesting. I have Arsenal finishing here. Once again, another last minute change between 5th and 6th. We'll get on to who I had there before and moved up into 5th. Arsenal could definitely finish there as Arteta's got them playing a lot better. I really like the look particularly of Bukayo Saka. I've drafted a video idea on him. Maybe I'll get something together on him soon because he looks like he could make a real difference in this Arsenal team. Aubameyang was so close to top goal scorer, maybe he'll get it this year, possibly. Even if he doesn't, he'll be scoring a lot, which Arteta will be hoping he does. When these predictions come around, it's usually the defence of Arsenal's that you look at and think is quite weak. Now with Saliba and Gabriel there, it has potential to be solid. The key word there being potential. This season could be a learning curve for them in England. Martinelli is another who interests me. Can Pepe improve on his 2nd season? And Willian I still think adds quality even if he is 32. They have looked better under the new manager, but I think other teams will have that bit more consistency. So into 5th, who I moved up 1 position, is Tottenham. The more I looked at their squad and what Mourinho has changed is the defensive structure, which we know Mourinho is great at doing. I think the addition of Doherty at right back is a great signing for just £15 million, as well as Højbjerg in the midfield for £15 million. Some good business by Spurs. Doherty is well rounded and Højbjerg should add some tenacity in the middle of the park for them. Mourinho now being able to bring in his own players that should fit the way he wants to play. In attack, we all know how dangerous Son can be. Kane scored 18 last year and he'll be right up there again next season. Dele Alli started playing better when Mourinho first joined, so there's potential for that form to come back. And then Bergwijn I also think becomes a useful player, adding a good threat in their forward line. Mourinho will be aiming for top 4 this season, but I think they'll come just short of that position. But maybe he gets something for them. Stick around for my cup winners this season. So then into the top 4. Qualifying for the Champions League, I have Chelsea in 4th. Now this is a difficult one, as we've all seen the business Chelsea have been able to do with a whole new attack in Werner, Ziyech and Havertz alongside last season's signing Pulisic. I believe the best out of those will be Ziyech. Similar to Bruno Fernandes, he's been producing incredible numbers at their previous team consistently throughout seasons. So I believe he'll fit in straight away. Werner I think will do good and be their top goal scorer. Pulisic did brilliant after the restart. Whether that was just a good spell of form, we'll find out soon. In the last 14 games of the season, Chelsea conceded 22 goals with a goal difference of 6. A poor record that I'm not too confident will change going into next season. They've signed Ben Chilwell, but I don't think he adds too much defensively. A goalkeeper could be coming in, but I don't think that's the bigger issue. It's a tough call to make and the debate could go on for a while, but 4th in my opinion will be Chelsea. Above Chelsea in 3rd place, the same as last year, once again I have Manchester United. 66 points is what they got last season, and I think this is where United need to look to make good progression. They'll for sure be looking at the high 70s and possibly the low 80s, which I think they're capable of. And I think it's the progression in the points that is more the priority, rather than where they finish in the league. Of course, it needs to be top 4, but 3rd or 4th, as long as there's significantly more points, is a good season. A full campaign with Bruno Fernandes, they'll be hoping for no injuries to Martial or Rashford like they did before. I think Sancho will arrive, which is a world-class signing. The reason why I think they'll get into 3rd is because of their defensive record towards the end of the season, or more so after Bruno Fernandes signed. Whereas Chelsea were fairly poor in the last 14 games, United were unbeaten and conceded just 7 goals. Ole has them playing a lot better and the previous lack of creativity is no longer a worry. So combining that improvement in conceding goals and the attacking force they now have means they'll have what's needed to finish 3rd. So Liverpool to retain the title? Not in my opinion. After working towards their first Premier League title, there was a lot of motivation and meaning behind their objective. Of course the quality is still there and they will play well, but not as many points as last year and it's going to be a closer gap. They haven't improved the team at the moment anyway, so there isn't new players to take into account. Results fell off towards the end of the season, and this was predicted by many as they got what they wanted. And I believe now and again throughout the season they'll have these sort of results and it won't be enough to finish first once again. Of course, meaning that winning the league in my opinion is Manchester City. I think after a poorer season, Pep will be ready to bounce back and for sure improve on the 81 points they got. They've added Ferran Torres and Nathan Ake, a much needed addition of a centre back, and I can't see them making as many mistakes as they did previously. I think we'll see Phil Foden get a lot more minutes this season. I've previously been on edge with him, being cautious on whether he'll live up to the hype, but I think he'll kick on this time and contribute a lot to the team, alongside the attacking quality of De Bruyne, Sterling, Silva and others. It is a great squad of players that I see lifting the Premier League trophy in 2021. And then to finish up on my player awards for the Premier League season. Top goal scorer, I'm going for Aubameyang. I think it's the one that makes the most sense for me. The main man for Arsenal, scoring the goals under Arteta, 22 last season, so I think he takes it this time. The Playmaker award for the most assists, I believe Kevin De Bruyne. Again, if they're going to win the league, a lot of it will be down to him, but Fernandes will be just behind him, I reckon. Player of the season for the 2020 to 21 season, Bruno Fernandes. He's done incredible for United so far, changing their attack, getting 15 goal contributions in 14 games. For a full season, I think he'll be great. Young player of the season, Phil Foden. He'll get more game time this season, and playing in Man City's front line, you're bound to get goals and assists, so I expect to see some good performances from him. The FA Cup, Manchester City, and the Carabao Cup, Tottenham. I think Mourinho picks up a trophy for them. Get involved in the comments or in my Discord server with your league table predictions and player awards. I recommend that you don't miss out on future videos. Subscribe to Route 1 and like the video if you did enjoy.